Hi there, Frontline Church family and friends. Today we start Galatians 1 verse 1 to 12. And whenever we start a new book in the Bible, we really recommend that you watch the Bible Project unpacking of that book. The key themes and the context really helps us to read the book more confidently. Chapter 1 and 2 of Galatians, Paul is defending and outlining the true gospel. A gospel, a good news message, a message of salvation that came from God, not from Paul or of human origin. And Paul says in today's letter that there are different gospels. There's a one true gospel, and then there are different gospels that don't lead us to life and freedom. They lead us into captivity and bondage. They lead people astray. And that's what's been happening to some in this Galatian church community. They've been led astray through a different gospel. And so when you read through Galatians and say, well, what was this different gospel? Then it's clear they're being led astray by the law, the Old Testament rules and regulations. And the group that were putting that forward, this different gospel forward, we often refer to them as the Judaizers. Jews that had accepted Jesus as the Messiah, the long-awaited Saviour promised in the Old Testament, but they were still trying to earn their salvation, earn their righteousness through following the rules and regulations rather than through receiving it as a gift from God. That's what grace means. It means something that is gifted to us, something that is undeserved, unmerited, undeserved righteousness. And it seems that this group, the Judaizers, as we read through it, they were twisting and misrepresenting Paul's message of grace, the gospel of grace. They were saying, look, Paul can't be right. This is just reading between the lines. Paul can't be right because if you're saying you're saved by grace, then that means you can do what you want, you can live how you want, and we clearly know that God doesn't want that. They were misrepresenting grace because that's not what grace means at all. And so just to very quickly try and sort of capture these two ways of thinking, when we take any rules and regulations and we think, well, if I do A, B, and C, then God will approve of me, then I'll be saved, then I'll be holy, then I'll get into heaven. That is how religion operates. It's about earning. It's about self-effort. It leads to self-righteousness and making the grade or not. It's about you and your work. But the gospel of grace is altogether different. It is about what Jesus has done and what he gifts to us freely. Remember in Ephesians, for by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is a gift of God. And so what we do is, in this gospel, the reason it's such good news is it's all about who God is and what God has done for us and what God gifts us. And we receive that gift of salvation and righteousness and eternity in heaven as part of God's family. We just receive it by faith. We believe it. We say yes to it. Now, how does that impact how we live? Does that mean you can then do what you want? Well, of course, I often use the word reflex to describe this. When we're poked in the eye, we blink. When the knee is tapped, the knee swings. When we receive this gift of salvation, when we receive grace upon grace upon grace each day, we reflex with holiness. We start to live in a different way. We are transformed day by day by God's grace as we press into Jesus. Intimacy, encounter, abiding, these things produce the fruit of the Spirit in our lives. So how do we know if a gospel that is being preached is a different gospel, a false gospel? I would say it simply comes down to this. Is it a gospel about what you need to do? Or is it a gospel about what Christ has done and how you can receive it and enjoy it? A gospel that gives all the glory and honor to Jesus. Have a wonderful day, resting confident in the goodness of the gospel that we have received.